Kamaru Usman won by vicious KO. And I did a couple of videos where I tried to predict, like, will Jorge win or will Usman win? And I did one where where I predicted Usman would win via KO, and this is how he would do it. But I didn't think this is the way that it ended up. I didn't think that was the way it was going to end up. It was completely different, and a lot of things went into that. We can talk about how Jorge came into that fight, what his game plan was compared to what Kamaru Usman's game plan was. I think what ultimately happened was Jorge came into the second fight very, very aware of what happened in the first fight, where he was maybe over preparing, right? He was too concerned with what Kamaru Usman was going to do, and maybe put Kamaru Usman into maybe into a box where he limited what Kamaru Usman is able to do. Kamaru Usman is going to stay on the outside. He's going to throw single strikes. He's going to close the distance and take you down and whatnot. And that's what he kind of did. Kamaru Usman kind of did that. But what changed was he kind of expanded. Jorge did note that he was prepared to wrestle for 25 minutes. And Kamaru Usman kind of used that to his advantage. He used his striking to kind of surprise Jorge and kind of throw him off. The other thing that was different between the first and second fight was that coming into this fight was how much notice, right? So a lot of talk was about Jorge coming into this fight on 6 days' notice. He had no time to prepare. He had no time to cut weight. He had no time to train, whatever it may be. The Kamaru Usman camp also had the same kind of sentiment. It was, yes, we were training for Gilbert Burns, but we ultimately had a completely different opponent. And as a viewer, I felt, and it just from stuff that Kamaru Usman talked about, he played it very safe, that fight. He came into the fight with a broken nose. He had a new opponent. He probably didn't want to take too many risks. And this second fight against the Jorge Masvidal kind of validates that. It kind of proves like, okay, I think Kamaru Usman in that fight just wanted to get through it. He wanted to just finish, get over with the fight, play it safe, just win the fight. In the second one, he came in with an actual goal of trying to finish Jorge Masvidal, and he did it. Jorge. We'll go back to Jorge. His game plan seemed as if he felt Kamaru Usman's power in the first one, and since he felt the power in the first one, coming to the second one, he felt more confident and able to in being able to take a lot of the shots from Kamaru Usman. So he's not as concerned with taking those punches, and I talked about that before as well. Talked about how going into a rematch, you come off, you go into the fight knowing a little bit more than previously, right? You go in there knowing, okay, this is how this guy kind of feels in that cage. Kamaru Usman kind of flipped the script. He did something that I didn't really expect. Just to fast forward to the finish. What it looked like was it looked like everything that we just talked about culminated into that finish. What do I mean by that? Kamaru Usman has a tendency to use single, very powerful strikes, whether it be a jab from orthodox or from southpaw, or to throw straights and crosses. What he did different this time was he threw a jab from orthodox, and then he came over with a cross. Jorge Masvidal, it seemed as if he wasn't expecting that cross coming after that jab. And the reason why I say that is you can see Jorge, he will try to parry Kamaru Usman's jab. He'll grab for it. And then as he's grabbing for it, he tries to return a hook of his own back to Kamaru Usman. The problem is that when he's throwing that hook, his chin is exposed to a cross from Kamaru Usman, and that ultimately was a shot that put him down. And Kamaru Usman seems like what he did in this fight was he used a lot more power. he didn't, maybe in the first fight he was using like 40%. Now he's a lot more behind his punches. And I think as the fight develops, as we find out more about this fight, I think he probably changed that technique where he would continuously throw the jab, get Jorge used to it, get Jorge a little comfortable, and then once he throws the jab, he'll comes over with a hard cross, probably with a lot of his power, just trying to finish Jorge. A lot of props to Kamaru to believe that you were able to knock out a guy that has never been knocked out. At most he's been knocked down, but even then he doesn't really look like he's in trouble. It's a big thing for Kamaru Usman. He's going through and he's beating these guys that he necessarily shouldn't be beating. If you look on paper, if you just say it's the guy that wrestles and throws single strikes, you wouldn't expect him to go in there and beat another striker. You wouldn't expect him to beat a striker at their own game, and he did it. He did it.